I don't know what that was. It sounded spooky.
Oh, that was just putting the lightsaber on standby.
Yeah, see. Hello, friends. It is ThursdAGE, your favorite Thursday program all about the adventure game engine, which is, our proprietary engine for... Hey, good to see you, Jay Gray. Can you hear me all right? Nice. Excellent. But to finish my thought, it is our proprietary engine that sort of runs our games you know and love. We've got Modern Age, Fantasy Age, Blue Rose, and Cthulhu Awakens, and The Expanse. Did you heard of that one? Have you heard of Dragon Age? It's a good one.
Oh, I remember that one from way back, eh?
Yeah, right? Now you should hear in the background a very spooky, groovy ghoulie who's hanging out with us today to talk about all the things that we're doing right now, which is just really, honestly, it's pretty outrageous. There's so much stuff going on. One can barely even keep up. But we'll do our level best because we have our buddy. Where's our buddy here? Where's our buddy? Hang on one second. I lost you? Have I? Let's see. Oh, I see where you are. Excellent. One second. Live broadcasts are always a treat. There you are. Now you are dressed as I'm
dressed as an evil dude, an evil lord of the evil dudes from a non-specific science fiction franchise.
See, with a light sword, perhaps.
That's right.
Nice.
Oh, if you only knew the power of the age system. And an upcoming release that will include a weapon much like this.
Hey, nice. Now, do you want to give a little, let's see who's in. I like that. Stormer says, nice ThursdAGE soundtrack a la Danny Elfman. Yeah, I'm a fan of that guy. Yeah. Duke says, hey, folks, I can't be here today, but enjoy the Spook Fest. Indeed. Now, Jay, you just said what? And I don't know what's to. There is a Dragon Age RPG. I mean, Malcolm, I don't know if you've heard this, but there are many times in my day, I'll say in a day, where someone says, wait a minute, what? There's a Dragon Age RPG?
What? There's a Dragon Age RPG? In fact, there is. And there has been for quite some time.
Yeah, there really has been. Yeah.
And currently it's on sale.
It is totally on sale. It is the cheapest that you will find this particular bit of business. How about we take a look at it? We'll take a look at it like this. Okay, over on DriveThruRPG, I'm going to drop the link. We've got the complete bundle. I have it on good authority that if you pick up the complete bundle, if you haven't already, many of you are fans of Green Ronin from back in the day. There we go. I dropped the link in there, but it is chock full of goodness. We've got the core rule book. We've got Faces of Thetis. We've got the Dragon Age Creatures of Thetis, the Wyvern. We've got Dragon Age Game Master's Kit, the Dragon Age RPG Quick Start, the Dragon Age Blood in, is it pronounced Ferelden? Ferelden. Thank you. I knew I was saying that weird. And then Duty Unto Death. Of course, the Quick Start and Duty Unto Death are free, but they're substantial. And it is normally $74 American dollars and 75 cents. But for a limited time, only $29.99, $30. I'm new here. What is this all? You are not new.
Yeah.
Is definitely
Dragon Age is also interesting in that you can see the roots of the age system, because the age system was, of course, designed for that game. But, you can see Chris Pramus's inspirations in things like, old school Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, some of you may remember that the game was originally released in some box sets.
Yeah.
Which I think, are those part of the bundle? The virtual version of the box sets?
I don't remember what came in the box set. I was just looking at the box set just earlier.
Yeah. So, and since then, we've added changed a bunch of things in Age in different iterations. But Dragon Age is still, still solid, and tons of people enjoy it, right? A lot of the stuff we've done to, in things like Fantasy Age and Modern Age and stuff haven't so much been about fixing something in Dragon Age, but deciding that for various reasons we want to do something a bit differently.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the original box set, and it's a lot of stuff.
But at the same time, you can see places where we've, made adjustments and, ostensible improvements. And you can take stuff from other Age games and apply it to Dragon Age with, very little in the way of conversion.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm trying to remember what Thetis means. It's I gotta remember the origin of it. Darn it, I've forgotten it.
It's short for the Dragon Age setting.
That's right. That's what it is. The Dragon Age setting. Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes necessity is the mother.
Well, it's a great story.
When it comes to setting design, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what happened? It came from the community. They would call it that. And then it was kind of as a cheek sort of thing.
Is that true?
That is very true. Yeah.
I did not know that it came
from the forums. Yeah. Super fun. But yeah, this is a heck of a bundle. And the art on this is just, it's incredible.
Oh yeah. I mean, having access to the game's art and being able to, have something to work with immediately, and also be able to augment it with other art and with, some great layout makes it a very pretty book.
Yeah, very, very much so. And Chris went down to Austin, Texas to hang out with the BioWare developers as part of this, process. He was embedded with the team. It was very legit, which is great. So pick it up. Of course, it's Dragon Age time. Everybody's clamoring for the video game, and I'm hearing mixed reviews. Not bad. I mean, people are I think what I've heard is people are missing some of the dark elements in the art itself. Like is
the new one out generally, or is it just out for reviewer type people?
It's out launched today, is my understanding.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, okay. It's been a hot minute since I've.
Yeah, I am probably the person, the Ronin least into Dragon Age. And I still have an Inquisition game on hold that I'm probably gonna start up again. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Because it's I always found that the advantage of a tabletop RPG really. In terms of experience, is that there's a lot of stuff where the necessary strictures of a video game get in the way of your imagination just a little, and in a role-playing game you don't have those barriers.
Right, that's right. Yeah,
right? I always think of that with things like there was some cave exploration at the beginning of Inquisition, right, where you don't really have control over the lighting.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the kind of thing that's like, oh man, I would just bring a torch. Well, if you play the RPG, you can bring a damn torch.
That's right. You can bring a torch. Oh wait, hey, I forgot something. Hang on one second. They couldn't hear you if you were talking. I want people to be able to
hear me. Oh man, I tried cackling. You won't get another shot. So
you're like, I got one cackle in me.
One cackle.
I love it.
I'm actually gonna decostume a little because this costume is actually some of my fencing equipment, and it's really hot.
It's legit. Yeah, you look like you're wearing a quilt.
Yes, I am essentially wearing wearing a stab-proof quilt.
No
This is
worries.
if you're interested
Yes,
in
absolutely.
my fit. This is from Ocado Armory. They also make some great training swords. And
Avocado Armory?
Ocado,
Avocado.
AKADO. I receive nothing from them. I just bought this. This is a protective jacket to go with Gekken, which is sparring with Japanese swords that are blunted steel.
Happy Halloween, learn music.
Which isn't my main thing, but
well, I think it's it's particularly interesting. I
but
think
it was a good fit.
Yeah. How many swords do you have?
A bunch.
Right, would you say like 15?
Too many. The thing is that everybody, when you start getting into this stuff, you always make a little mistake the first one or two, right? Because you'll see alleged swords that say things like battle ready and all that stuff, right?
Okay.
And eventually you learn who the reliable manufacturers are and what is needed for safe fencing and and what tournaments will accept and things like that, right?
Okay, well, talk to me about what's a battle ready sword. I mean, sorry, friends, we're deviating, but
battle ready sword is a term invented by people who sell swords in online stores and physical stores to tell you that if you use this sword to hit another sword, that maybe it won't break immediately.
I see. Because I mean, anything really could be battle ready if you try hard enough.
Yes. Anything can be battle ready if you try hard enough. Whereas, actually, give me 2 seconds.
So then they'll shatter and Malcolm stepped away. Are you grabbing a sword?
Yeah, I'm grabbing a sword.
Oh, so, nice, excellent.
Yeah. Hey, so this is my current everyday use kind of sword. I've had some over time that have been good for a little while, and I've given them or sold them to other people. I have one that I'll probably only use for armor because the blade is very stiff, and if you thrust at someone with it, you could really hurt them. But this thing is a wasted fetter from Krieger Armory, and it has this little
cool looking
thing in the middle so that I can have a comfy handshake grip.
Yeah.
And it's tapered. The only thing I don't like about it is there's a little loop at the end. It's
sure.
Spatulated tip. Now it's designed to be bendy.
I know, Stromer.
The thing is that the tip, just the tip,
just the tip.
There's a danger that little rolled in part can break off, or that it can scrape people's skin and things like that. And we don't want that.
Does a sword get more brittle over time, or does it? I mean, how does that work with?
I don't know. It gets rusty, and then I don't polish it again until I feel really ashamed before I'm about to go into an event.
I see. So if you got a dull sword, they're like, "What in the world?"
Yeah,
I see.
But I mean, you'd have to ask somebody who knows about that stuff. I mean, eventually there's mechanical tension, and they can break.
Gotcha.
And
that's dangerous. Yeah.
And a lot of this stuff really isn't like, if you hit someone full force with one of these things, this isn't really going to help you.
Okay, right? So that's just a quilted fabric, right? With some batting, or is
it's got some batting, so it absorbs some of the impact, but mostly it's for the kind of canvas on the outside, because it has a rating for how many newtons are required to penetrate it. So if this thing breaks, but leaving a sharp bit that continues going on toward the person, if they're wearing one of these things, I probably won't stab them.
Got you. A real strong maybe. Yeah.
Well, I mean, nothing is certain in this.
That is very true. Hey, happy Halloween to you, Daniel. Learn music.
Topic.
I think it. Well, no. See, this is important. I think Learn Music says I think it's good to know a tiny bit about swords if we want to run a fantasy RPG.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
redemption.
I guess. I don't know. The funny thing is that a lot of things. I once saw an interview with a guy who is martial arts action star, right? And he was
Yeah.
talking about how a lot of things that look really effective look terrible in movies, right?
Oh, sure.
It's the same, and it's the same with swordplay, because an ideal sword fight is that, you know, I immediately hit you and you don't do anything back and you fall down, right?
Yeah.
And this is really the thing that we're aiming for were it, you know, a serious fight, right?
Yeah.
We're not trying to have an extended fight. We're not aiming for each other's swords or things like that, right?
And the swords are heavy and you're wearing armor, and yeah.
But in, you know, in the movies, like, I don't want to see a sword fight that lasts for 1 second.
That's plodding and slow and sort of
yeah. I wanted to see like Darth Maul do a butterfly kick, double lightsaber spinny thing.
Right? Yeah, right. Triple Sao Cow. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The only thing that really bugs me is when like this sort of stuff looks, you know, obviously dumb. Like a couple of things are, I'm just going to tell you right now.
Do it.
This thing where you do the reverse grip is almost always bad. Oh, it's just only good in like 2 situations I can think of, and both of those situations are kind of dumb.
Do you mean bad to hold or bad to?
Well, it's like, what? How are you parrying someone who's aiming for your head?
Right.
I guess you raise it up like this or something.
Sure.
Like, yeah. How do you attack somebody? I don't know. It's like, there are ways, because you can do anything you want, no matter how well advised. It's just that the other person also has a sword, presumably, and it's pointed at you because they're holding it properly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Because the pointy end is headed your way. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing, I guess the main thing in like the big difference between the way we view swords in fiction and games and the way they were used in reality is probably that they were very rarely anybody's primary weapon, right?
Okay.
Like if you are a knight, right, you have a lance, or if you're on foot, maybe you have a poleaxe or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They have more reach. Poleaxe or spear, they have more reach. They're just better weapons, right? But maybe you lose your lance or your poleaxe. Or maybe you're walking down the street and the sword is your personal sidearm.
Yeah.
Right. Because, you know, you live in a world where, you know, everybody knows each other, which reduces violent crime a little bit, but also, you know, there are no police, and you know, the way you get judged is by, you know, people who have skin in the game, right? By your community. Sure. Or by your lord or whatever, right? So consequently, you know, you never quite know how things are going to go, right?
Well, and here's a question for you: do you have like a dress sword and a like on the battlefield sword and like its fall sword, or your
rich people would. You see a lot of examples of you know, super fancy swords. I went to Austria, and I went to the Hofburg and the Imperial War Museum, which have, you know, a lot of treasures from, you know, that family that used to run the Habsburgs. Those are the ones.
Yeah.
But it has a bunch of Habsburg weaponry, right? And some of them are relics. Like there is a saber that was said to have belonged to Charlemagne, and it's not too fancy. It has some fancy additions. But then you have these swords that are made out of there. I saw one that was designed to look like the grip was unicorn horn.
Oh, okay.
And that's because one of the 3 imperial treasures of the Habsburgs was a supposed unicorn horn, which looks a lot like a narwhal horn.
I see. Well, yeah, narwhal horn. You know, actual tooth, but yeah.
Yes. It looks a lot like a narwhal tooth. So
yeah,
you know.
Does this ring any bell? Stormer says on the lookout for the modern age HEMA article in Engine soon. HEMA.
Oh, well, HEMA stands for Historical European Martial Arts, which is what some people call what I do. I prefer historical fencing for complicated reasons that would interest few people. But I mean, I kind of like I did one modern age adventure, like the intro modern age adventure, Warflower,
Oh yeah,
has
yeah.
to do with like criminal historical fencing school is one of
Such an
the
evocative
factions you
name.
run
Is that
into.
Warflower? Is that does that refer to a something, or is that like
It
you
actually
made up?
refers to a book in the adventure, which in itself is a reference to a 600-year-old book called The Flower of Battle,
Okay.
which is the primary text that I study for Longsword.
Tempo asked, Kiwani knife. Do you prefer a belly knife or a chocolate knife?
Yeah, I own a bunch of knives. I don't do I do I have a friend who's a Filipino martial arts instructor, and sometimes I do seminar level things with him.
Yeah.
Most of the knife work that I've done has either been with a rondel dagger, which is essentially like a big spike,
Okay.
which is also in the same it's taught along with longsword.
We'll get there, Jake. I
Or
promise you.
I do some later knife work that is designed to work with an early British bayonet.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. No. Hey, do any throwing? Like
What,
throwing
like
daggers, throwing like
throwing daggers?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, so we took a little drive down, Sword Avenue. I wanted to share
Yes.
one more thing, because I'm telling you, we've got so much going on that if you blink, you'll miss it. First of all, have you seen the new site design?
Indeed.
It's sharp. This is it. It looks so good. Jay Gray says no throwing, only winning. Kudos to your friend and mine, Evan Sassy Ronin. He put a lot of work in kind of creating an easier way to find stuff, surfacing products that people are interested in. It's really well done. I've been just oohing and awing over it, partially because look at all this new stuff. So now folks will know we've got, of course, we've got the sale on the Fantasy Age Core Rulebook and Cthulhu Awakens Core Rulebook, dovetailing very nicely with the brand new Fantasy Age Second Edition Cthulhu Mythos and Brinkmanship, which I am only now learning is Brinkmanship and not Brinksmanship.
Oh, yes.
I was one of them.
That was one of the things I had to look up. So.
Yeah. You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Although I can't find the page for my account and orders. Oh, okay. We'll have to figure that out. It's probably easily found, my friend. We
so
definitely.
I can talk about some of these new products if you
absolutely.
like.
Let me get through it first, and then it's all you, baby. We've also released a brand new Dread Crawls, which is not to confuse anybody, but we've got Dread Crawls 1, but then we also have Dread Crawls number 0, because we are masochists. And but we've got the Dread Crawls is on sale because it's part of the spooky Halloween sale that we're having. Lucky you. And then the brand new Dread Crawls, jam-packed with good stuff. We'll dig into that. And then today we released Chrono Crisis Part 2 Showdown at Magic Mesa. It's an astonishing adventures. The Chrono Crisis series, 3 books. The third one's on its way, and the second one released today. The first one's there as well. Just $5.99. You can pick it up and have your own superhero fun. What else was I going to say about this? Something really great. Oh, you know what? Folks may not know this, but the folks in the Cape and Cow Club, that's a club that is, let's say it's made up of superheroes. These are people who are subscribed to the membership, and the membership being the Cape and Cow Club, and they get all kinds of good stuff. They get stat blocks. They get all kinds of things that just don't happen for outside of that club. They're doing a workshop right now on something. It is called Jay Gray. Oh, I bet you say that to all the Troys. But they the Cape and Cow Club is working on. So Alex and Steve, Alex Thomas, Steve Kenson, respectively, they are running workshops. Those workshops are basically sort of a boot camp on how to develop a TTRPG from the beginning, from the pen to paper, from the planning stage. Pinewood, that's right, it's the Pinewood Project. And it comes from back in the day, we were on Mutants Masterminds Monday. We were talking about, we were actually talking about kind of rural adventures, and people were very, very interested, and they wanted to see more of that. And Alex was like, oh, yeah, maybe I'll do something like that. Well, it just so happened to work out that it was the project that the Cape and Cow Club took over, and working very closely with Alex and Steve. We meet for workshop meetings, and then there's assignments, and the whole thing is just really, really fun. I mention that because something like that is coming for Age, and it's the Age Insider program. If you ended up backing our wildly successful campaign for crowdfunding campaign for the Expanse Transport Union Edition.
Transport Union Edition. I keep saying trade union.
I almost say it every time, but it's right at the tip of my tongue. But yeah, Transport Union Edition. You get to be a part of that for 3 free months. And what we're going to do is we're going to do exactly how we did it with the Cape and Cow Club. We're going to work with you to put the pieces of the puzzle. We pretty much know some of the stuff that we're going to be doing. Is that why you mentioned that? That's exactly right. Stan, you read me like a book. And you can buy that book for $5.99 in the Green Ronin online store. But yeah, so friends, stay tuned for that good stuff. We're going to be sending out a note to everybody. I will also say that it is a veritable who's who of Age fans. And so if you're feeling like you didn't get a chance to be a part of that, would you send me a note? Because I don't want to leave anybody out. Maybe you didn't get a chance to back the Expanse. I would find that highly unusual, but if that were the case, you can certainly send me a note, and you can do that on the Think Tank. You can go to the Think Tank. It's atomicthinktank.com. atomicthinktank.com. And that is the hub, the bustling community, the heartbeat of our basically anybody who's doing anything with Green Ronin on any level in any facet. Thank you very much, Jay Gray. Almost got it right. You got Atomic. But I will say it's a great group. It's a lot of fun, and we're going to bring that magic over to the Age side of things, the Age side of the house, and it will be amazing. But just again, so Jay, Atomic has just one T. You're giving it a little extra T, which is fine. You do deliver. You go the extra mile. But that is how you do that. That's it. Yep, you got it. So with all that being said, Malcolm, we've got people with questions. You've got things to talk about. Let's dig into. I'm gonna keep the store up.
Well, we can do some questions.
Well, let's talk to me about the Dreadcrawl stuff. Like, what's in the new stuff? What's in the new book?
Well, I mean, the reason we have the numbering the way it is because Dreadcrawl 0 was originally a backer reward for Cthulhu Awakens. And so our original plan was just to do that, right? So, I got kind of cute and called it 0. But we got the notion that we actually wanted to do more.
And people wanted more. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And Jesse Hanig was into that. So we've done 2 additional issues, which are called 1 and 2. And this is the first of those additional issues past 0, but it works with 0. And this is threatening scenarios. So you may or may not be familiar with Dreadcrawl 0. Dreadcrawl 0 is all about generating locations.
I love the cover.
It has a whole bunch of tools for creating and stalking places.
Say that more time. Creating and stalking.
Stalking is in store stock.
Oh, got you.
Right?
Okay, got you. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
With items, creatures, etc. So basically, when you need to create a place, or in fact, you can use this for solo play. And kind of go as you explore. You can generate maps and locations and different things. Right.
Hey, cool. Okay. Nice.
Right. So in the same vein, number 2, or the second issue, number 1,
I rest my case.
it generates stories in the same way.
Okay.
All right. So yeah. So you'll see that it has a bunch of tables that you can roll on or choose from that will give you a complete story outline.
Yeah.
So the neat thing is you can take that story and you can make it the basis for different locations, right?
Okay.
So you
Very
can
cool.
you'll see we have the generating location. So
Yeah.
you can use you can use Dreadcrawl 0 to add more detail to the step of generating a location. So again, great for inspiration and also great for solo play.
Nice. So yeah, solo play, that is something that you have, it feels like over the course of maybe the last year or so have really taken a deep interest in
I have. And we have some aspirational, shall we say, projects
that
involve solo play.
By definition means, folks, don't ask me about this every single time we do the program.
Yes. This is the kind of stuff we hope we'll be able to do. And so the next issue of Dreadcrawls, which hasn't been released yet, the third issue, confusingly named number 2, takes that and does large scale events, right?
Right, cool.
So you can actually kind of work backwards because you can generate an event which will suggest a story, which will lead to locations.
Okay, cool.
Right? So you can, and in fact, we've talked about kind of using this, technology. Sorry, I'm just putting the sword down before it clatters. For other things. So that's so I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm quite happy with the work Jesse Hainig did.
Hey, are you in a position to say anything about engine number? What is it? Is it 3 but spelled out in?
Oh yes, we were talking about how to do numbering formatting the other day. These are the kind of questions that consume our time.
That's right.
Yeah. So engine number 2, the text is complete. We're just kind of waiting to have time to get it laid out and everything.
Yeah, to doing it right. I like
and
that.
It does feature. It features an interview with Marc Caron, who is who those of you who follow the Age community on Facebook may recognize him as someone who talks about his solo Age games, right? So we talked to him a bit about his methods and what he does.
How cool.
All right.
Now, for those of you who are watching, you're like, engine, what's that? Well, it's our Age role-playing game magazine. It's chock full of good stuff. It sort of reminds me a bit of like an old pulp kind of magazine. Like, what are some of the small, like my grandfather read them all the time. They had little short stories and stuff in there.
We have bits of Age games, right?
Yeah.
We try to put a new adversary creature type thing in each one. And this one will have one. We have an article from what's that Expanse stream?
John? At Brax's Precipice. Yeah.
At Brax's Precipice. Yes. So we have an article from John Bultana about the process of designing storylines.
Yeah.
For a stream, right?
Yeah, John's pretty deep in the in the TTRPG from the educator side of things, as he teaches courses on it, and some of our work ends up as part of the curriculum. Yeah.
And we have a bunch of other stuff.
We do. Let's talk about.
We also have issue 3 planned, and issue 3 is going to be something pretty exciting. It's something that we've never done before, ever. And it will be something you might be interested in, even if you've never played an Age game before.
Very interesting. Okay,
but I can't say much more about it.
Oh, I love a cliffhanger. I love it when we kind of dangle out a little bit of a candy corn and then we take it away. It's more to come. Hey, Shadowcat, good to see you. Okay, so can we talk about Cthulhu Mythos for Fantasy Age?
Yes, we can. That's a recent release, and that is taking a lot of the material. Well, here's the thing. Some of it is allowing you to use some of the material from Cthulhu Awakens and Fantasy Age, right?
Yeah.
However, not everything that works for Cthulhu Awakens works for Fantasy Age, because we have a broad look at the mythos, and that includes things like, a lot of early pulp fantasy, right? Was part of the Lovecraft circle, right?
Yeah.
So this was originally going to be an appendix in Cthulhu Awakens, but we eventually decided that it kind of deserves its own treatment. So what we have is basically a way to do the Cthulhu mythos in Fantasy Age's sword and sorcery.
Okay.
General implied kind of setting.
Yeah.
So one of those things is an alternative form of magic that does not use magic points.
Okay, interesting.
Is risky to cast that you can learn.
I see. It costs.
There is a section on ceremonial magic, which is not like the Eldritch workings in Cthulhu Awakens. You can use Eldritch workings, but because Eldritch workings are not designed with balance in mind, we took a bit of a different approach for something that's closer to traditional fantasy. There are new character there are 2 mythos-inspired character ancestries. There are a number of new talents and specializations, from becoming a mythos sorcerer to if you want to be an untamed barbarian who laughs at sorcerers and then chops them down. Right. We also have a specialization for that.
You do not.
So it's a big.
Sorry, you just answered Jay's question. Do you need Cthulhu Awakens to use Cthulhu?
No, you don't. No. You just need the Fantasy Age core.
Yep, just Fantasy Age core. And it'll get you. And this also comes with a lot of great advice and information on how to maneuver through this.
Yes, the kind of skeleton of this that we added more kind of crunchy material to was a great game mastering sort of story design advice section from Jack Norris, right?
Gotcha.
Our Fantasy Age developer emeritus, who was kind enough to come back and do that for us.
Hey, I love this. The ancestry is you've got Deep Blooded and the Dream Ghoul.
Yes, yeah. So ghouls in Fantasy Age are kind of a special thing. They're one of our signature monsters. So we couldn't just call them ghouls the way they do in Lovecraftian works, because we call our ghouls something else. So they are dream ghouls, and part of that is because they have the ability to decide whether the dreamlands or material reality are real to them, right? So one of them is the place they go where they sleep. So you have dream ghouls that go to sleep in the dreamlands and wake up in material reality. Right? So that allows a lot of weird things. The Deep Blooded are, of course, if you want to play someone who's eventually going to become a deep one or another, kind of aquatic servitor of an old one, right? Or who has that ancestry, but isn't necessarily interested in following it in that direction, right?
Right.
Or has a completely different ancestry, because there are a lot of not madness inspiring entities in the implied setting of the mythos as well, because we're talking about things coming down from the stars in all kinds of variety. So there's a bunch of stuff for that, right? And also options to have your character mutate and develop special characteristics over time.
Well, then there's famously the Dream Ghouls film with starring, Beyonce Knowles. That's a just famous movie, movie. And I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, real quick, let's see. Okay, let's dive into brinkmanship, and then we have questions.
That's an adventure by our own Alex Thomas that's set in the 1960s, in 1965, I think.
Yep, that's right.
It has to do with horrible things happening at a
No.
CIA station in Turkey.
Not in my Cthulhu Awakens.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yeah, it's 1965, suitable for characters level 3 to 6.
Yeah.
Easily adaptable, but that's cool. Awesome. And we do love Alex, and that's fantastic.
It's kind of neat too that we now have kind of a range of adventures going across a number of different time periods.
Yes.
So in the core, we have contemporary and we have 1930s. The quick start, which you really should grab, by Sean Ingham, who is, a worldwide authority on folk horror.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to have as a friend and creative partner.
Am I high, or is the I think the quick start's free, right?
Yes, the quick start is indeed free, so you should go get it.
You should.
But you can use it if you have the full game too, of course. And it is set in the 40s.
Cool.
And now we have brinkmanship set in the 60s. So
very cool. Yeah, and it really does illustrate the timeline. I think that can be a little daunting for folks at times to sort of wrap their mind around.
It kind of gives you examples of what's happening.
Yeah. Right? I dig it. And, oh, well, look at this. We got the Miskatonic University shirt in here, and then a Cthulhu mug, a mouse pad. Look at all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You too can be Cthulhu'd.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah, and pick up the GM kit too. It's got a book full of evil books.
Included. A book full of evil books.
Yes, yeah, it has.
That's right. That's such a fun project. Everyone
it is. Yeah, it is. We got all the staff people together to work on it, and
I love it.
So we have a
what is it called? What's the name of the
unexpurgated text?
Unexpurgated. That's right.
Yes.
I love that. Good stuff. All right, friends. We've done you the service of lining up all the new stuff here at the top, at the tippy top. You can come over, check it out. The sale. The sale for spooky stuff is over today.
Can we talk about upcoming things too?
Why don't we jump into that right now? Why don't
Techno Fantasy Tay?
I'm telling you, please. I mean, honestly, people ask about a lot of stuff, and there's that one, and there's the other one. So yeah, you're on the hook, buddy. You got to tell us all about it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, as much as you can. I mean,
So back, so part of the history of Fantasy Age is, of course, some science fantasy stuff, right? Unfortunately, there's a specific science fantasy intellectual property that has run its course with us, and sadly we must part. However,
now
just as we have a Mythos supplement, just as we have a Trojan War supplement, we will soon have something called Fantasy Age Techno Fantasy for all of your Thundar, the Barbarian, He-Man, inspired, early post-apocalyptic gaming inspired, Damnation Alley inspired if you're really old.
Now hold on real quick. I just want to be clear. Now
science fantasy.
I think you said you said science fantasy. Just to be clear, friends, we're not talking John Carter of Mars. We're not talking any science fiction related thing. That all's well with The Expanse and continues to be. But
yes, we're not talking about The Expanse.
Yeah, just to be clear. Yeah,
no, we are.
We
are clamped to The Expanse.
That's right, and so basically, Malcolm's referring to a title
with an attachment disorder.
That's right. Malcolm's referring to a title we have not for some time been able to or publish. So yeah.
But if you are looking for gaming in a similar genre, perhaps Fantasy Age Techno Fantasy upcoming soon, and which will have an adventure soon after.
Okay.
And which will have support in engine number 2, by the way. May indeed be to your liking.
Very nice. Okay. All right. I like that.
It's got some great stuff, doing magic on batteries, robots. It has new vehicle rules tuned for Fantasy Age specifically, Fantasy Age Second Edition specifically.
Nice.
you know, robot horses, flying
Robot
cars,
horses.
tinkering, rules for inventing weird gadgets on the fly or gradually, so you can
Oh.
improve, the tech level of the wasteland. New ancestry options, new talents and specializations, a whole whackload of new antagonists in particular. That was something that we got some especially strong stuff for. Right?
Well,
It's
that's
super cool.
yeah. Well, as they say, out of the ashes.
Yes, and it is coming. Just not yet.
Gotcha.
I don't control that. It's the department that Troy's part of that controls.
That's right. We hold those the release valve very tightly.
Yes.
Otherwise, you jam things up, and the PDF factory gets all messed up, and it's a mess. But I'm excited about
that whole "I Love Lucy" scenario on the.
It is, and it's not. There's not chocolate. It's not.
Wow,
chocolate.
It's just. Man, I'm just not winning with contemporary references, eh?
Everybody remembers that. The old Lucille Ball.
The latest I've been able to get to is the 70s with Damnation Alley.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're making our way. Yeah, we're making our way in the modern age.
Yes.
Okay, so questions. We got people here with questions. Before we do that, is there anything else that you can talk about that you might be hatching, like a big old egg you've been incubating?
Oh, are you talking about Swords of the Shadow Planet?
Please say something, because
well, Swords of the Shadow Planet came back from the editor, and I'm currently finalizing the chapters.
Yeah.
And if you want to know what it's like mechanically, what you should do is you should pick up the Orc role-playing game.
Oh.
It is an evolution of the system in Orc, but it is not a funny game. Right?
So Orc is kind of fun.
Orc is a funny game. Swords of the Shadow Planet is not.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't imagine so. A shadow planet with a sword.
Oh, I don't know. You can have funny shadows. What we do in the shadows, that's funny.
That's right. Well, awesome. And so do you, did I hear any kind of inference of time on that? Like, or, just where we're at in the process?
It is very likely we'll be able to come out with it next year.
Okay. Next year's great. That's a great long, it's a big, that's a big target. Mm-hmm. So like Orc, only more serious. That's right, Tempo. Okay. Awesome.
We're also thinking of doing some interesting things with the art and layout. So one of the things that will be interesting is that there is no canon art. There will be no canon art in the book.
No canon art.
That means that when an illustrator illustrates something, it is their particular take on whatever the text description is.
Ooh.
And should not be considered, a photograph of what's happening in the world.
But an interpretation by, I got it.
It's an interpretation. This is because I really want to kind of lean in to how I appreciated paperback fantasy, right? And if people remember reading paperback fantasy, they will know that often, artists will have radically different ideas of what it looks like, what the content of the book looks like. Or they'll have no idea and they're just going off an art brief, right? So instead, and I really liked the freedom that gave you to kind of imagine things yourself.
Yeah.
And to think, or to come up with a favorite to go, I really love the way, okay, so my favorite fantasy series is the Book of the New Sun, right? So, I'll see covers of editions of that. And, the main character, Severian, it's a dude in a black cloak with a big sword, and I'll go, I really like that depiction of Severian, or, that's not the way I imagined it in the book, right? Yeah. Or, I didn't think of this character looking like this. And I always thought that was fun. And I want that fun to come back.
Nice. Right? I like it.
And I think early RPGs, it's a weird thing because they were kind of limited in terms of the quality of illustration they could get.
Sure.
In the beginning, you have the same kind of process where, like one of those little scribbles from, 1974 was really sort of treated as, an abstract representation of what a monster might vaguely look like.
What TTRPG am I thinking about? was it an orc based teaching? It often they will often tout themselves as the actual really first TTRPG that came out before Dungeons and Dragons. What is it? Oldest TTRPG. The line drawings in this in the book. I worked with the team on another project. Is it orc something?
I don't know. I mean, I know that there's, in terms of the history of tabletop role playing games, you have a lot of people who claim that Bronstein or Bronstein, I'm not sure how it's, probably Bronstein because it's German. It is, the true first tabletop RPG. And it was like, I think, an abstract city simulation.
I see.
Abstract wartime city simulation. Although I personally have a beef with that, in that it draws a lot of inspiration from H.G. Wells's Floor Games. So I think the game depicted in Floor Games should actually be considered the first tabletop role-playing game. Floor Games being the companion to Little Wars, H.G. Wells's wargaming book. So now you know some things that only game designers care about.
Tunnels and Trolls.
Tunnels and Trolls. Oh yes, Tunnels and Trolls.
That's what I'm thinking of. And I say, first to come out in the context of like that pivotal moment where, suddenly everybody, suddenly D&D was born and something was there. But yeah, the Tunnels and Trolls guys they're pretty passionate about their timeline.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Have you ever heard the term steam engine time?
No.
It's the idea that, there has to be a bunch of cultural preconditions for a technology to really work. Okay. Because, basically steam power is something that was known by the Greeks and the Romans, right? And the Romans made like cute little automata, right?
Yeah.
Like little steam-powered robots and things like that. And, the Greeks certainly had the gearing and they understood, they understood that steam could move stuff, right? Yeah. But that never got turned into an industrial scale technology because none of the preconditions were there, really. And, we're talking about civilizations where, absolutely brutal levels of slavery were endemic. So the idea of a technology replacing labor was not attractive given the amount of startups. But then, of course, you have steam engine time, which is, the result of European imperialism reaching a certain stage, along with an understanding of steam as a technology.
Sure.
Right? Because, you have a bunch of stolen wealth. Sorry if I'm getting a little spicy. You have a bunch of wealth taken, violently taken from other places and concentrated in one place.
An entire riches in a whole, sort of
you create the preconditions. You create the demand for this technology, and so you have steam engine time, right?
Yeah.
So, and less politically spicy, you can say that about a whole bunch of other things, right?
Yeah.
There would be no D&D without fantasy fiction and fantasy media reaching a certain level of development, right? And without wargaming reaching a certain level of development, a certain plateau, and those things kind of cross-pollinating.
Yeah, and we're just talking basically an evolution of culture where people go, hey, wait a minute, I can do this. And
right? And then it's a matter of who is the first to, not really think of it, but hit upon the correct way of
to manifest.
The correct way of giving it mass appeal. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Which is usually a matter of interacting with commerce.
They weren't really even after mass appeal, right? Like they weren't like thinking. They certainly couldn't plan for the $1 billion industry.
Oh, certainly. Certainly they never expected, I'm not sure that D&D was really considered that different from other war games, because I think at the time there was a tendency to identify with characters in war games, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much largely understood that in the rollout to where we're at today, that Dungeons and Dragons they got there first, and you could be having all kinds of ruminations and ideas and things, maybe even developing something, but in the timeline, in this one anyway.
And there's a lot of sort of, this is not to say that, Dungeons and Dragons ain't so big, right?
Yeah.
Because there is genuine innovation. And so much, D&D represents so much genuine innovation and a lot of cross-pollination of game mechanical ideas and play structure ideas. Like hit points, for example, come from a naval war game that I think Dave Arneson was aware of.
Gotcha. Right? Well, the other thing as well
is points were originally used for the hull of ships in this game.
The same people who we're going to get into this one day, we're going to get into a deep dive because there's so many people. When we're talking about, the little arts, you were talking about how we got here is because I'm a big fan of the Tunnels and Trolls. I'll show it here real quick. Let me just give you an example of what I'm talking about. And it's right here. Let's see. Is it here? And
no, that's just even bigger. Now
that's just
there we go.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I just love this stuff. And interestingly enough, given the people who were doing stuff for Tunnels and Trolls art-wise, artists, were also working for Dungeons and Dragons, and have in the past worked with us as well.
Yeah. Well, I think the idea here too is that, and I think it's something that's appealing when you look at, say, the OSR. There's a lot of that. Is that it's the idea of art being directed not to be a literal window on the world, right? Yeah. But to kind of inspire your imagination,
leave some space for people to think about.
Yeah, right.
I do like that. Okay, yeah. So I think that's great. I think it's wonderful. I'm often too, like, I want to go back just to kind of oh, hey, I got to work my birthday. Shadowcat, it's your birthday today. I know you're off going to work, but happy belated birthday. But I would love to be able to see all the intersections of artists, writers, in this space, and kind of who begat who and how that kind of worked out. Because I think it'd be really a very interesting timeline. Like they have this one. This is what I like to see. They have for Blizzard, they have the companies that Blizzard spawned, and when you look at how much innovation and inspiration they ended up throwing out into the world, it's pretty remarkable. I think that we could probably find the same kind of interesting lines, which we would be a part of.
Definitely. I mean, and there's so much stuff that I come up with ideas for that we don't have. It's just we just don't have the time or resources.
Yeah.
And some of them we've come very close to doing. Right, like I pitched a game called Steel Reach. Which was trying to lean into like an early 90s industrial aesthetic and make that the basis for a sci-fi game using a simplified age, right?
Okay. Yeah.
The idea would just be, a world completely filled with rusted metal and,
listening to craft
rusted metal and neon and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the idea would be that this machine planet, this mysterious machine planet pulls spaceships in, and they've pulled your colony spaceship in. So you have your home base, which is the colony lander, and then you're going out trying to survive in this place where there is nothing organic, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So, we haven't had time for it yet,
But what I am excited about, though, is that we've made a lot. It sounds very cool, and we've made a lot of room for some pretty innovative, fun things. And it's one of the things I love when we get to hang out and talk. Kind of the mashups were, sort of the precursor to some of this other great stuff that's been, kind Is there anything else that we can share? New stuff? I know that there's some questions here that I'm gonna dig into.
Well, why don't we do questions, because we're already over time.
Sounds good. Well, yeah, kind of over time. We started a little late.
Yeah.
But so let's see. Let me get up here. So someone's asking, for the Envoy coordinate ability, does the recipient of the SP need to spend it from the same stunt table as the Envoy that generated?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just it just follows the rule of the stunt must fit the story.
Got you. Okay, and there's another one. I know that I'm digging in. Let's see. Sorry, I'm scrolling and rolling. Ren asked a good one, and I said, "Hold on, and we'll answer that." And hopefully, I can find it. Okay, yeah. So Jay talked about that. A lot of people complaining about my carrot on a stick. Some people offering advice on how to get around it. I like that as well. Doodle-doo. Any news on Lost Isle of the Pirate Queen for Fantasy Age?
It's almost done.
Almost done is perfect. That's great.
Yes. I think it's at the end stage of layout, and we're just kind of waiting for it to get to that, and then should be. I'm not sure when exactly, but
we'll let you know when we know.
Soon,
for sure, friends. Yeah,
as we sometimes say.
Yeah, but this one real soon.
Yeah, this one real soon. Like basically, it's got a finished layout. I have to give or Ian, because this is something under his tenure, and we have some crossovers because switched lines. I'm gonna have to give it a review, post layout review, and then it should be ready to go.
Fantastic. And folks, I think, are aware that you two swapped
that's
some
right.
titles over, and which is great, but really there's so much cross developing anyway.
Yes.
So it's not, which is great. But okay, well, so anything else that you can think of? We really covered some of the big questions that we get all the time. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Thank you for doing that, Jay. I appreciate it. Jay's going to share that information on the Envoy with the person who's asking about it in the Atomic Think Tank.
Yes. Powers is still on the agenda.
Okay, good.
Modern Age Powers. It is written. But, we have been through a lot with the pandemic. And I know it seems weird to say in late 2024, but
we plan this stuff years sometimes in advance.
Yeah. It was disruptive at a critical point in some of our lines, right? And that's affected a number of things, often in counterintuitive ways. But it's still there. We haven't done big things for Modern Age in a while, but we still have ongoing projects for it.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah. People are very excited and want to know more about it.
So that, and there is one other major project that was pretty badly delayed that we hope to do. That is something where we're working with a freelance developer on her own original setting.
Oh, cool.
And it's someone who I worked with when my primary clients were White Wolf, and then later Onyx Path Publishing.
Okay.
And she's someone whose work I really grew to respect, and then working for her because she did development duties over there and also working alongside her, and so I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. Okay.
But that's still kind of in process. We have another historical supplement for Fantasy Age that we're hoping to release earlier, but we had some priorities moved around.
Yeah.
But it is it's still on the agenda.
Great.
And you've already seen some of it, but I can't tell you where yet.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
And what else? Oh yes, there's more. There's more Fantasy Age journeys coming.
Yeah. Good. Good. Good.
So
Well received. Those are.
yes, and there's there's another Fantasy Age Dungeons adventure coming, right? So
Very
there's
cool.
going to be adventure support. Fantasy Age Journeys is where we revise and expand an element from the previous edition of Fantasy Age. So we did an expanded Valley of the Whispering Titans where we added an additional adventure and new antagonists to it, and we updated the whole thing to second edition, right?
Yeah.
And the next one, I'll tell you what the next one is. The next one, I'm not sure when it's coming, but we had some interest in High Falls Swale, which was the starting area that we detailed in the first edition of Fantasy Age.
Anytime we ever do a big event or something, we get everyone together, you hear someone in the back was like,
yes. So it's text complete. Return to High Falls Swale is text complete. It has a great second adventure to go along with that.
Nice.
So you can return to it. Like one of the reasons I wanted to do journeys is because one of the great things you can do with an ongoing game is visit a location, then have a reason to return to it.
Yeah.
So
yes, yeah, exactly.
For me, with AD&D, with old AD&D, Village of Hamlet, I found was like the most useful module for me because we just keep returning to the town, or I'd say, well, you've been away for a while. Some other monsters have occupied the ruined moat house.
Right.
You have to go clear them out, or you're out. Now that you've cleared out the moat house, the Thieves Guild is occupied. So right. I had them visit that moat house like 3 or 4 times, man. It was great. Awesome.
Oh, hey, real quick question. Tempo asks, says, I remember High Falls Swale. Any returning characters?
From High Falls Swale?
Yeah.
Yes, all of them, as far as I know.
There you go, my friend. All right, well, listen, so we have now reached our 1 hour mark. Thank you so much for hanging out on this spooky occasion. And for, you came dressed as a sword-wielding knight of space.
Yes, with my space.
Give us a little sword lesson. There it is. And I do like that you are a sword aficionado of the future and the past. I dig it quite a bit. Hey, chat, I'm going to thank
They're
you
just so cheap now.
I know, they really are.
Like, this thing is made of, like, machined aluminum, and it's got, like,
a whole bunch of really nice
soundboard. Like, I think 7-year-old me would have had a precocious aneurysm.
Yeah, right, exactly.
If this thing suddenly appeared.
That's right. Squire says it was fun and educational, which indeed it was. With that, my friends, I say to you, be safe. Some of you may already be out there trick-or-treating or doing your thing. Save a piece of candy for me. And I think that with that, we shall call it a day and say adieu. Play this very sweet music. And thank Malcolm once again. And we'll see you all. Hey, come check out Mutants Masterminds Monday. It'll be a lot of fun. We hang out, we talk about Mutants Masterminds, and it's a blast. It's a lot of fun. You should come, Malcolm. You can hang out with us. It's fun.
Oh, I don't know anything in Masterminds.
You don't have to know a thing. You just have to be heroic. No. That's all. All right, friends. Take care, and we will see you soon. Ta-ta! Hey, friends, it's me, Distant Buddy Troy. Listen, we don't have a lot of time left in October, but we still have a lot of great events. Here's what's going on. On Tuesday, the 29th of October, the Untold Stories Project is running a Cthulhu Awakens actual play called Echoes at the Threshold. That starts at 4 p.m. Pacific, guaranteed to be very spooky. Find them at the QR code, bottom right of your screen. Then, on Wednesday, October 30th, a new event, a weekly event, every single Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific. It's Get Tanked with Troy. This is Troy's office hours. You can hang out with me ask any questions you got. Maybe you need some art. Maybe you need to talk about a collaboration that you want to do. Maybe you've got a new live stream, or maybe you just want to hang out and have some fun. It's all happening in the tank. All you have to do is go to atomicthinktank.com. You'll see in the event calendar, Get Tanked with Troy, and there's a Zoom link. Once that meeting goes live, you get to hang out live with me. We'll talk about all kinds of good stuff. It'll be fun, I guarantee. Later that evening, Abraxas Precipice is running the Expanse RPG actual play, 6 p.m. Pacific. Join them by using the QR code in the top right side of your screen. And then the big day, Thursday, the 31st of October, it's Spooky ThursdAGE. That's at 2 p.m. Pacific. I do hope you'll join. I will look forward to seeing you. And buckle up. November's right around the corner.